My wife was able to visit her mother whenever she desired because I spent my bonus money to purchase a used crossover vehicle for her. "What is this?" she said with a burst of laughter as soon as she caught sight of it. "This is a retiring truck." After that, she hurled the keys at my chest and yelled, "Drive it yourself, you scumbag. It is a perfect fit for your pitiful little life." All I did was smile. My wife called me 35 times in a row today, yelling, crying, and barely able to form coherent sentences, stating that she couldn't believe what I had done. So I have no idea how to begin this without coming out as extremely petty. It doesn't matter. It has been years since I've had a week as crazy as this one. That is all I will say. If you are married, you shouldn't dismiss the strange small things that happen. It all adds up. The past month has been weird, as if a series of insignificant things have accumulated. My wife, Isla, who is 31 years old, has a habit of forgetting to tell me things that are genuinely significant, such as the fact that her mother Caroline is in need of funds once more, or that she has purchased a variety of weird household gadgets that will unexpectedly arrive at the door. I have noticed that she has been more attached to her phone than normal. She is not simply scrolling through her phone, but rather she is typing with both hands, responding quickly, and locking her screen if I go by. Not trying to conceal it, but not sharing it. You are aware of it. Over the past few days, her entire aura has changed. She is always making jokes about how my boring life is catching up with me, or how she should have married someone with more drive. She is strangely protective about nothing, and she is always having these jokes. Real encouraging material here. Even though it hurts, I'm going to let it go since I'm hoping that it's just a phase or something. The history of? The previous month, I received a bonus that was sufficient to purchase something good, but not something wild like a Tesla or something else. The fact that Caroline, Isla's mother, is confined to her apartment across the city, that she never gets to see her grandchildren since we don't have any, and that she wishes she could see Caroline more, but her own car is too unreliable, is something that Isla often complains about, as she does every other week. She brings up the fact that no one else save herself assist her mother. Now, I'm thinking, okay, maybe I could be of some use for once, right? I drag my cousin Everly along to obtain a second opinion, as she is the only member of the family that does not communicate with Isla. I spent weeks investigating potential bargains, test driving a large number of crossovers, and even dragged her along. In the end, I decided to go with this spotless and lightly used crossover. It has a low mileage, is really dependable, and is not fancy, but is not embarrassing. Although it is not a sports car, it is a far finer vehicle than the one she is now driving. I take it in my hands, clean it out, and obtain a bow and everything else. Normally, I don't like to be sentimental, but hey, I want to do something nice, so I did it. The day that I show her, I tell her to go outdoors and walk around. Her phone is held in one hand at this moment. Caroline is currently speaking. I am able to hear her discussing how no one respects her in the background of the conversation. When Isla notices a crossing, she pauses, looks around for a moment, and then she just laughs out loud. Even though it is not a cheerful laugh, it is a dry chuckle that people give you while they're making fun of you. When Caroline asks what is going on, her voice becomes increasingly loud. However, I can tell that she is rolling her eyes even though Isla has her on mute. She inquires, "What exactly is this, a wagon for retirement? Do you anticipate that I will be the one to drive this?" It's not a joke, please. In all honesty, she is irritated. She takes the keys from my hand, presses them against my chest in a manner that is quite forceful, and then says, "You drive it, you loser. The perfect fit for your pitiful little life." I wish I could say that I had some kind of impressive retort, but the truth is that I just stood there and looked at her. For a brief moment, I had the sensation that someone had slapped me. Although I did not literally smack you, you get what I mean. On the other hand, she does, in fact, slap my arm later on. I mean, it's not very difficult, but it's enough to make me take a step back. When I turn around, I see that our neighbor Howard is standing in his driveway, glaring at us while attempting to give the impression that he is not there. Isla simply storms back inside and slams the door as hard as she can, causing the glass to shake. A shouting may be heard coming from Caroline. In spite of the door, I am able to hear her. For the time being, I remain outside, holding the keys, and attempting to figure out what the hell just took place. After a few minutes, I return to the room, and she is pacing about, bellowing at her mother, and saying things like, "I'm cheap, and I have no idea." It's hard for her to comprehend that I believed she would be interested in something like that. She does not even bother to glance at me. When I check my phone, I see that she has not been apologizing or even making a joke. The only thing I received from our bank was a message about another withdrawal, which is strange because I had the impression that she had already paid all the payments for the month. After checking the app, I discover that there is an additional price for Caroline's residence. At this point, all I can feel is irritation. When I inquire about it, she dismisses me, claims it is none of my concern, and promises that she will repay me, which is something that she has stated around 5 times before at this point. This is not a huge sum of money, but it is also not insignificant. In addition, it is always the case that I will repay you, but I never truly do. She also sent me a text message, which is a sarcastic comment about how true men are the ones that pay for their wives' families. On that particular night, I hardly slept at all. It's not because I'm depressed. I'm just angry. Every time I listen it, I find myself reliving it. A poisonous atmosphere permeates the home. In addition to leaving the kitchen in a state of disarray and ignoring me until she is in need of something, she bangs doors every time she moves. At one point, she makes an attempt to seem as if nothing has occurred and asks me if I would like to place an order for dinner. I simply decline and then go to the spare room. She storms out, accuses me of being childish, or whatever else she does. I attempt to shake it off despite the fact that I wake up early, but everything seems weird right now. Upon observing the table, I see that her laptop is open. There are spreadsheets and emails regarding transfers that she has created. She is indeed transferring money around, but she is not engaging in any criminal activity. I do not make any statements. Always with the phone facing down, she leaves it there. There's a folder of receipts that she has in her own bag. In the past, she never kept receipts for whatever she purchased. I can't help but wonder if she is concealing something, or if she is simply getting ready for something. I remember that she remarked she was tired of feeling stuck the previous week, and I laughed it off. However, now I'm beginning to make connections between the dots. At approximately noon, my mother sent me a text message asking if I am doing well, which is strange given that we haven't communicated with each other in weeks. "I'm fine," I answer, and she admits that she got a bad feeling about me. Despite the fact that I don't tell her anything, I'm beginning to wonder if I've been neglecting her too completely. In a later call, my father informs me that he spotted me outside with the automobile and inquires as to whether or not I am finally getting rid of the old one. I simply say that we will see. The rest of the day is nothing but unbecoming. If Isla goes out, she returns late, and she doesn't tell me where she was. I ask her about it. Her only response is a shrug and a out. The keys are once more offered to her. She claims that she does not want to be seen driving that it is embarrassing, and that it is a kind of vehicle that is driven by elderly people. Then, after I tell her that she is able to walk, she hurls her bag toward the wall with great force. Indeed, it leaves a trace angle. She slams the door loudly once more and storms out of the room. I make an effort to eat dinner, but she spent the better part of an hour talking on the phone with Caroline. The door was shut. Then I hear laughter, and then I hear my name mentioned a couple times. I'm not going to lie. That one really gets to me. Once again, I check our bank account, and I find that there is yet another strange transfer. It is not very large, but it is not insignificant. I inquire about it for her. The door is locked. She goes to bed early, and she ignores me, which is something she has never done before. I'm not sure if I'm overthinking it, but I really feel like something is off. However, after today, I am not going to just sit here and take it. I am not going to do that. I also know what I saw, and I am aware of how she is behaving. I am aware that I am not crazy. There is nothing I could have done to deserve that, and I am not going to just let it go without a fight. The next time she tries to use me as a punching bag, she is going to find out that I am capable of hitting back, even though she is unaware of this fact at the moment. It's not that I'd ever do that literally, but I'm done allowing her to walk all over me. It's hard for me to say where this is going, but I have the impression that something is about to break down on NGL. The feeling that you've just finished being the good guy is something that you understand if you've ever experienced it. It is not my intention to wait for her to initiate the conversation. At this point, that is all. If you have made it this far, you should be grateful. If things continue to become crazier, I might update. I have a feeling that they will. Bring it up to date. To put it simply, I believe that this is the update that people were hoping for. Didn't anticipate coming back on this site so quickly, but I'm going to note her with an asterisk. TI things have become even stranger, and I'm not going to just accept it. Previous post was on the automobile. All of that, even her losing it on me, even the car is no longer concerned at this point. It is about respect, or more accurately, the complete absence of it. As a result of that catastrophe, I made an effort to simply keep my head down. You'd figure that it would eventually pass, right? Nope. Isla increased her efforts. She is already awake the following morning, and she is making such a lot of noise in the kitchen that it seems as though she wanted to wake up the entire street. It appears as though she is attempting to solve a crime, as she is scrolling through group conversations and direct messages while her keys are sitting on the table right next to her phone. Please don't bother me. She tells me when I ask her if she would want coffee. She is going to visit her mother. Is completely uninterested in me. Well, whatever it is, I say it's fine, and make the decision to go for a stroll in order to get my thoughts organized. On the way back, I see that Caroline's car is not in the position where it normally is, which is strange because she never drives unless it is for the purpose of going grocery shopping. When I check my phone, I see that there is a transaction from the joint account that we share. One more time, the rent for Caroline's apartment. Neither is it a small one. The third time that this has happened in the past month. Consequently, I send Isla a text message about it, but she simply ignores me and leaves me on read. Old school. I made the decision to investigate the other transactions that have been taking place in our joint account. And to tell you the truth, I ought to have done this earlier. There are a lot of strange, tiny transfers, such as $50 here and $100 there. Some were sent to Caroline, and some were sent to other names that I don't even recognize. I'm not talking about just once or twice here. It is a pattern that dates back several months. Although it is not enough to be noticed immediately away, it does add up. I send her another text message, and she finally responds by saying that she is taking care of family matters and that she should stop being so controlling. Okay, I get it. Every time I need to rant, I contact my cousin Everly. It is her assertion that I am being overly kind, that Isla has been babbling about how she is deserving of better, and that I am preventing her from achieving her goals. My question to Everly is whether or not she has heard anything strange from her family side, and she responds that she stays away from them like the plague. On the other hand, she is not surprised. Whatever the case may be, I begin to pay more attention. Again, Isla arrives home from work late. It is not specified where she was. Despite the fact that she has new bags and shoes, she never brings up any of these things. And when I inquire about it, she simply rolls her eyes and claims that it is outdated. She is icy, always on edge, and occasionally comes across as blatantly cruel for no apparent reason. As soon as I walk in, she puts her laptop away and keeps her phone facing down like that. While she is in the spare room, with the door half closed, I overhear her hushed conversation on the phone. When I walk by, she becomes really quiet, and then she begins to act as if she is laughing as if I were not there. I was unable to get to sleep that night. At about 2 a.m, I got out of bed and made the decision to check some mail that had been stacking up. There is a letter that is addressed to me, but I was unable to identify the sender of the letter. When you open it, you will see a statement attached to a private loan. Even though it had my name on it, I never changed it. It's not a great lot, but it's enough to get my blood boiling. I do some research on the company, check the dates, and discover that it coincides with the strange transfers that have been made from our account. When I read back through old texts, I noticed that there have been a lot of instances in which Isla has stated that she will reimburse me for things, but she has never actually done so. Everything, including statements, texts, and even her messages to Caroline, in which she states that all she needs to do is make sure that he is satisfied until the house is paid off, is printed out by me. It was on the shared tablet that she had forgotten to log out of, and I discovered that one. It's wild. Now I am certain that it is not just me being paranoid about the situation. For her mother, for herself, and most likely even for her friends, she has been using me as her version of an ATM. To tell you the truth, I don't even think she has a strong affection for Caroline. All she wants is to have the feeling that she is the one who is in charge and takes care of everyone. And the manner in which she discusses me with other individuals? Brother, if someone were to say half of that she asterisk to you about me in front of me, I would be out of here. That is when I begin to move. In the first place, I transfer my payroll to a different bank. It will take a few days, but it will be worth it. After that, I begin the process of opening new accounts and moving anything that is solely in my name. The cards that she uses for emergencies are frozen by me. After she discovers that the following time she makes an attempt to purchase a load of things online, she comes at me while yelling in a loud voice. Whenever I prevent her from taking my wallet, she makes an attempt to strike my arm down. Moreover, I simply take a step back and advise her to calm down. As she storms out of the room, she shoves past me, grabs her bag, and slams the door so forcefully that it causes a picture to fall off the wall. Even if I were to pick it up, I do not bother. Afterwards, she returns with Caroline to the home. This is not even a joke. After walking in as if she were the owner of the establishment, Caroline immediately goes to the refrigerator and begins to complain that there is nothing that is worth eating. During our conversation in the kitchen, she confronts me and tells me that I am destroying everything and that I owe this family more than I am aware of. Despite the fact that I tell her to back off and that I am aware of the loan and the transfers, she continues to argue that I am ungrateful and that I ought to be thankful. They made it possible for me to be a part of their lives. Isla makes an attempt to join in, and she begins to rant about how I am embarrassing her in front of her mother. I simply pull away from the situation. It makes no sense. Once that is complete, I will begin documenting everything. Just in case, you should have voice notes, screenshots, and receipts. In order to schedule a meeting, I make a phone call to a lawyer who is not one to play about with things. When I bring a large folder containing everything that I've discovered and lay it all out, he merely raises his eyebrows like he's not sure what to do. People do this all the time, he tells me, and if I want to get out of the situation, I need to do it in a clever way. He tells me that I am not crazy. So, we will now begin the process. Asterisk D is not disclosed to Isla. In the meanwhile, I have turned off all of the other features. Not a single penny will be paid for Caroline's flat. I provide notice that I will be calling the landlord. Inform him that it is either on or now. All of the things that aren't absolutely necessary are canceled. There will be no more streaming services. There will be no more additional subscriptions. There will be no more haphazard presents given to her friends or mom. Rapidly, she takes notice. I am confronted by a furious individual in the living room. It makes an attempt to push me with both hands. My position is unwavering. Let her know that she is now able to pay for her own things. I have been called a loser, selfish, and sad by her. They are all hits. Simply staring her down, I then turn and walk away. It is a mug that she tosses toward the wall. Even when everything shatters in every direction, I don't flip. When I overheard her talking on the phone with Caroline about how he is not going to do anything, it was the final straw for me. This is something he never does. It is necessary for me to persist in my efforts until I achieve my goals. Although she uttered it as if it were a joke, it was not. I had enough. I am currently moving in complete silence. The paperwork is being attended to. We have the money locked up. Additionally, for the first time in a number of years, I have a sensation that I am once again in control. The future is completely unknown to her. The next update is most likely going to be the momentous one. This is a feeling that you are familiar with if you have ever been in a situation in which you realize that the people who are closest to you are just using you. On the other hand, I'm not going to just ignore it. I suppose there will be more shortly. Recent developments, too. It is NGL. I had no intention of writing another update so quickly, but here I am. However, things became extremely chaotic, going well beyond what I had anticipated being feasible. You could say that I'm just obstinate, but there's no way that I'm going to let this go. Not after the way she attempted to manipulate me. You are aware that I began moving money around, shutting down accounts, and cutting off all the little ways that she was draining me of my resources, if you read the last post here. Only the warm-up had been completed. Consequently, this is how it began to pick up speed. This was the first indication that things were about to become extremely chaotic. Isla starts behaving in a pleasant manner, such as preparing coffee for me. I am being asked whether I would like to watch something with you, the act of pretending to be kind. Unless she is in need of anything, she never acts in this manner. I am just going along for the ride. Just keep it brief. I'm sorry, but I'm in a hurry right now. As she waits for a notification, she keeps looking at her phone in a distracted manner. I notice her sending direct messages to people, most likely in search of someone to vent to. She begins to sprinkle hints regarding the fact that money is now tight. The reason why her credit card was not accepted at the supermarket. What a terrible injustice. It is that everything is so pricey right now. Although he continues to sigh loudly enough for me to hear it. He does not ask me directly. To give the impression that I didn't see, I simply nod and continue scrolling. Following that, she plays the guilt card. Once more, she has Caroline, her mother, placed on speakerphone, making such loud comments about how difficult it is to provide for one's family when there are those individuals who do not appreciate one's efforts. I increase the volume of the television. The advice that Caroline gives her is to advocate for herself, alleges that I am ungrateful, and all that. At one point, Caroline does make her way over to the house, simply enters the residence without any further steps, not even bothers to knock. You can see me sitting on the couch, makes an attempt to encircle me in the kitchen, argues that I should refrain from punishing Isla for relatively minor errors. My response to her is that I am simply going about my business. She approaches me in a manner that is physically close to me in an attempt to get in my face. In addition, he begins to poke at my chest. I advise her to take a step back. She breaks out into a yell. Isla has arrived. Starts yelling at both of us to stop what we're doing. The chair is pushed by Caroline. It is tipped over. Her fall is quite close. I do nothing but stand there and watch her wither away. I am not sure what type of response they were hoping for, but I choose not to give it to them. Simply went up to the second floor and shut the door. The following morning, neither of them is present. This is only a warning that they will be absent for some time. In the meantime, I frequently receive phone calls from unknown numbers. Some of their shared friends, including her cousin, have inquired about the situation. It would appear that Isla has been telling everyone that I am emotionally abusive and that I control the money on her own. I take screenshots of the transfers, the loan notice, and the receipts, and then I send them to the family group chat with a hasty. For the record, here is what is actually happening. After then, my brother sends me a text message. Simply says damn and asks if there is anything I require. It is my mother's regret that she did not give me a more severe warning before we got married. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm the same way. Now we are getting into the meat and potatoes of the financial situation. I put the final joint card on hold, and she quickly discovers the truth. When she arrives at her house with bags of goods, she discovers that her credit card is not functioning properly. She then simply throws everything on the floor while ranting about how embarrassing something was. She makes an attempt to take my wallet. Then I move away. I am pushed by her after she makes an attempt to hit my shoulder, but fails to do so. Not easy. My voice tells her to halt. She does not stop pushing. Therefore, I just state that I will contact someone if she touches me once more. She takes a step back, shuts the door to the bedroom, and you can hear her throwing things inside the room. It is 1 hour later when she emerges. The hair is a complete mess. Eyes that are crimson. Makes an effort to pretend as if nothing has occurred. I choose to disregard her. In the following several days, she gives everything a shot, crying out loud, screaming out loud. The threat of leaving was even made. I give her permission to proceed. I'll come to regret it, she says. After that, he goes out of the house and slams the front door so forcefully that the dog of the neighbor is terrified. She has been absent for a considerable amount of time, most likely with Caroline. It makes no difference to me. I immediately begin making phone calls, the first of which is to the landlord of Caroline's home. Declare to him that I will no longer be paying for it. Notice is due in 60 days. He says that everything is okay and that it is not his problem. After that, I check each and every account to make sure that my name is not associated with anything that is not mine. Use different passwords. Activate the notifications. Every single thing. When I first became concerned that something was wrong, I even go so far as to retrieve the old folder of documents that I had begun. An assortment of screenshots in disarray. These are the bank statements. Electronic mail. In addition, there are a few voice memos that contain her ranting about it. For the sake of safety, I organize everything. It is now common knowledge. Someone is texting me from her buddies. A few are neutral. Some people are crazy. Some are simply nosy. I will supply the facts. There is nothing else. To suggest that I did not warn them is not possible. Even her aunt backs me up in this fight. Isla is someone who she has always known to be challenging. I'm not going to lie. That one made me laugh out loud. After that comes the legal matters. I get along with you, examine everything in turn. And he says that if I want to put in a lot of effort, I'm in a terrific position. I am instructed to refrain from discussing financial matters with Isla. Please allow the paperwork to speak for itself. That is what I do. While she is at work, serve her. Didn't want there to be any trouble at home. She has called me 35 times in a row. The voicemails that are left are difficult to comprehend. Nothing but sobbing and groaning. No, I do not respond. In the evening, she arrives at her residence. The face is crimson. Numerous tears are shed. He begins to yell at me when we are in the driveway. Eyes peep through the windows of the neighbors. For real, she makes an attempt to slap me. I prevent her arm from moving. She begins to cry softly, sags down on the front step of the house, until she gets up and storms inside. I just stand there with my arms crossed and watch. At long last. I'm not going to lie. This one didn't feel bad at all. I send the notification of the lease to her mother. Isla has been copied on this. Both of them are aware of the precise time that the flat is ready. It is now their concern. You should tell them. I am blown away by Caroline's phone. Leaves a message that is 5 minutes long, describing how I am destroying their life. And I will only ever be alone myself. Just now I deleted it. There is no longer any vivacity on the premises. She seldom ever speaks. She does nothing but amble around, smash doors, and grumble to herself. The individual makes a few attempts to get closer to me, inquires as to whether or not we are able to resolve the issue. I tell her without a doubt that I am finished. The woman leaves. Once more, you label me a loser. According to him, I will never find somebody better. All I do is shake my head, and then leave the room. That being said, I am not exactly sure what comes next. It's a relief to know that I'm not the one who cannot sleep. Her actions are frantic. Caroline is making a mad dash. I have the impression that I have finally gained the upper hand. If you are reading this and you are under the impression that you should just accept it, not at all. You don't. There is resistance. When people are mainly concerned with the repercussions, they do not always respect the warnings. I will make another post if something more significant occurs. I have the impression that it is not yet over, but I am prepared for whatever comes after this. This is a final update. Now, let me tell you how things actually transpired. For everyone who is still keeping up with this, it's the first time in my life that I've ever received so many voicemails, missed calls, and texts. You may say that this is a final game. If you ask me to tell you the truth, however, it seems to be the only possible way that things could have turned out. There is no happy ending. There is no scene from the movie. It is only the actual fallout. How silent the home became was the first significant indication that something was wrong. Do not have peace. Simply devoid of anything. The sound of Isla slamming cabinets will no longer be heard. Caroline will no longer call at any time of the night. The only sounds I hear are the hum of the refrigerator and the occasional direct message from a friend or my brother checking in. Despite the fact that I assumed I would have a moment to myself, I never did. Isla would call once more, that much was certain. 25 voicemails were left by her in a single day. 50% of them were irate. She was crying the remainder of the time, making an effort to express her regret. She was unable to comprehend what I had done. She demanded to know the reason why I had betrayed her. No single one of them was answered by me. Shouldn't it have been strange after all? After so much mayhem, there is silence. Not only that, but it helped me feel more alert. It is more concentrated. It was time for me to begin organizing my belongings in the shared closet. I was putting away what was mine, creating lists of the things that I would need to get go of. The folder containing the proof remained on the table in the kitchen. There I was confident that she would see it when she arrived home at last. I required her to be aware that I had finished playing. Upon her arrival that evening, she appeared to be in a state of complete and utter disarray. The streaks of mascara. The hair is a complete mess. The jacket is just partially on. In an attempt to slam the door, she was unsuccessful. Too exhausted, I believe. Suddenly, she let go of her bag, went straight up to me, and made an attempt to push her way through. It seemed as though she was going to take my phone or something. I did not allow her to access, just relocated to the side. She began to rage at me, claiming that I was destroying her life. I couldn't believe that I would humiliate her at work by having her served. She couldn't believe it. Everyone was asking inquiries at this point. He said, in light of everything that we had accomplished together, how could I be so heartless? Neither did I yell. I simply moved the folder across the counter at this moment. I informed her that if she was looking for answers, they were all over there. She ripped it open, viewed the printed copies. It's the bank stuff, all of the screenshots. Within the span of around 5 seconds, her face went from being red to being white. It was then that she began to flip through it. The individual mumbled about how it was not what it appeared to be. If only I would pay attention, she would explain it to me. She pleaded with me. It was at one point when she actually got down on her knees, reaching out and grabbing my leg, as if we were in a major play, made an effort to pull herself up, had a slip. As a matter of fact, she struck her hand against the cabinet. I moved away from the situation. Then I told her to stop. She stood up. Sobbing began to occur, and then went straight into a state of fury. I was said to be cruel. She would make sure that I would regret this, and she would be vindictive about it. She rushed upstairs and slammed the door so forcefully that a picture was knocked over and crashed into the hallway. I did not complete it. She did not descend for a number of hours. All I did was remain in the room, making a wailing sound into phone to Caroline. I only heard things in fragments. All of this stuff about how impossible I am, regarding the manner in which she would repair it. At a certain point in time, Caroline attempted to call me once more. I, however, blocked her. On the next day, I received a phone call from the landlord of Caroline's accommodation. He stated that he had received a 60-day notice. Just wanted to make sure. I stated that it was accurate. I wouldn't end up spending a single penny more. He promised that he would inform Caroline about the situation. The last time I heard from him was at that moment. Isla made an effort to fight with a divorce. Her actions began to conceal my mail. She attempted to transfer money from the account of the residence to her own account, even made an attempt to suggest that I had stolen money from her. I had each and every receipt, not a single assertion, every text. My attorney conveyed all of the information. Her efforts brought about a worse appearance for her. A call was placed at her friends in an effort to rally them. However, the majority of people simply desired to avoid getting involved. I received direct messages from a couple who claimed they were unaware of the situation. This was the state of affairs. Also, that they wished for my well-being. Even Howard, who lives about 2 doors down, came to visit. It was said that he observed the police at Caroline's building in response to a noise complaint. I would guess that they are not coping well with the stress. The last straw, as far as I can tell, was when she attempted to get physical once more. I was cornered in the hallway by her force. I was attempted to get slapped, dismissed. After that, they shot me against the wall. My only action was to move out of the way. It was my promise to her that I would get her out of the house as quickly as she could blink her eyes if she ever touched me again. She said that I was destroying all that was going on. I informed her that I was just currently completing what she had begun. From that point on, everything was business, a prenuptial agreement, and the proceedings were expedited by my attorney. She did not care to read it at any point. Assume the majority of the house. These are the assets. In almost every respect, you remain with me, all of her hidden savings, in addition to the debt. My legal representative was able to secure it, and she is now responsible for repaying the loan that was taken out in her name. She made an effort to delay it, but each week that passed only served to provoke her anger and make her feel more desperate. Sadly, Caroline was unable to relocate. Everly, my cousin, informed me that she attempted to move in with Isla, but Isla was unable to afford the place, so now they are both trying to find a more suitable living situation. No more jokes about the retirement wagon, referring to the automobile. Everly, who has been working double shifts and utilizing public transportation for the past few months, received it from me. When I handed her the keys, she broke down in tears. I am not going to pretend that it made up for anything, but I will say that at least one individual was able to benefit from this encounter. That being said, the house is finally quiet now. A stop to the yelling. Stop smashing doors in your face. For once, it's just me, my belongings, and the calm that I deserve. People are constantly inquiring about my well-being, in the event that I am feeling sad. If Isla were to undergo a change, I would never consider taking her back. None of the above. It is not about forgiveness or second chances in this situation. It's about not allowing someone to ruin your life, and then begging them to stay when the payments are due. When it comes to something like this, I never imagined that I would be the one to actually pull the trigger, but there are times when you have to be the one who puts an end to it. I did not apologize. In no way, shape, or form. There are occasions when losers emerge victorious, and once they have done so, they do not turn around. I may make an update if something amazing takes place, but I believe that I am fully free. Thank you for taking the time to read. To be honest,